Today's episode is sponsored by Sensodyne. Sensodyne is the #1 dentist-recommended toothpaste brand for sensitive teeth. If you suffer from sensitive teeth, Sensodyne Repair and Protect with Deep Repair is designed to help repair and relieve the sensitive areas of your teeth and provide lasting sensitivity protection with twice daily brushing. Its active ingredient builds a repairing layer over the sensitive areas of your teeth and protects them from tooth sensitivity pain. National Coffee Day is right around the corner on Wednesday, September 29th, so don't let painful twinges from sensitive teeth hold you back from your favorite iced or hot coffee, the perfect pairing for the subject of today's episode, Biscotti. Let's get down to basics. So traditional biscotti is a very simple cookie that you can make by hand. We got 250 grams, or just shy of 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon baking powder, half a teaspoon of kosher salt, and a 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. Tiny whisk together to evenly distribute the salt and leaveners throughout the flour. Then, in a separate, slightly smaller bowl, we're going to combine our wet stuff, starting with 3 large eggs that we're going to crack in there, which we're going to whisk together with a half teaspoon vanilla extract and 1 teaspoon almond extract, along with our sugar, 175 grams, or just shy of a cup. Go ahead and whisk that together until it's relatively smooth, doesn't need to be fluffy or fully dissolved. And then it's time to bring everybody together in addition to 120 grams, or about 2/3 of a cup of whole almonds, which you can see I'm being pedantic about making sure that each one is cut in half. Come on, Andy, do you have better things to do? Okay, here we go. Dump those on into the flour along with the egg and sugar mixture, and then we just gotta mix everybody together using a rubber spatula until no dry pockets of flour remain. And since biscotti are pretty dry and don't have much fat, we don't have to worry as much about over mixing as we normally would with other cookies. We want these to be dry and snappy when they come out, so if you overdevelop the gluten, no big deal. Next up, we're prepping a rim baking sheet with nonstick spray. I like to spray an X in the center, then more around each edge, which is going to hold our sheet of parchment paper in place. Press that down until it's nice and flat, and then dump the cookie dough on top, and then using lightly wetted fingers so the dough doesn't stick, we're going to shape this thing into a sort of uniform log thing, the width of which is going to determine your final cookies. This thing's going to more than double in size in the oven, so plan accordingly. Speaking of which, that's where it's headed next. A 350-degree Fahrenheit oven for 25 to 30 minutes until the dough emerges triumphant, puffy, not too deeply browned, and well set. Then we're letting this guy cool for 10 minutes, during which time we're going to lower our oven temperature to 300 degrees Fahrenheit. Pop this guy off the sheet tray by virtue of the parchment paper, and then it's time to begin slicing. As you can see, the dough is pretty set all the way through. The knife isn't dragging, nothing's getting pinched on wet dough, so we'll end up with biscotti that has nice, clean facades. Go ahead and slice her up as evenly as you can, which in my case is not terribly evenly at all. Keep the end pieces as snacks for the chef, and then it's time to lay these guys back out on parchment on their sides to bake once again at a lower temperature. The word biscotti, after all, is derived from the Latin biscottus. Pretty interesting, huh? No? Yeah, you're right. These guys are now headed into the 300-degree Fahrenheit oven for 10 to 15 minutes, or until their skyward facade feels relatively dry. Then we're giving them a flip, and back into the oven they go for another 10 to 15 minutes until once again dry on the other side. Let them cool completely on the tray, and there you have it. Super easy, super classic almond biscotti, which by any cookie metric is pretty dry and crisp, which in its current form is pretty good, but really this thing is designed to be an accompaniment to hot coffee or even sweet dessert wine, something that can soak up to make it more palatable, kind of like breakfast cereal and milk. And this might have been okay for Italians in 300 AD, but I am an American in the 21st century, so I need chocolate and I need fixins. Chocolate is easy enough, you can temper it if you have that kind of time on your hands, but it's also fine to just melt it in a double boiler. Just make sure to take it off the heat as soon as it's melted. Overheating the chocolate can make the fat bloom once it's cooled, which will taste just fine, but it'll be covered in weird white streaks. Once you've dipped the bottom of the biscotti into the chocolate and let the excess drip off, it's time to place it chocolate side down on yet another parchment-lined baking sheet so it can solidify, improving the biscotti, your coffee, and your day. And if you want to throw some twists on the original recipe, here's how you do it. First, like all things in life, this process is made inexorably easier by a stand mixer, so if you got one of those, go ahead and bust it out. Then for this first variation, I've got 60 grams of dried cranberries and 80 grams of unsalted shelled pistachios, which, just like the almonds, are going to end up nicer if you give them a little toast in a 400-degree oven. And of course, let them cool completely before adding them to the batter. From there, it's the same procedure. Mix it all up, form it into a log, bake it, slice it up, lay it out, bake it again, flip flip them over, bake them again, let them cool completely, and this time we're going to dip them in white chocolate, which as you can see I'm pouring into a tall, narrow glass, so as that we might envelop half of our biscotti in the chocolate. Now I'm not even that big of a fan of white chocolate, but even I can't resist when it's combined with cranberries and pistachios, and dipped into coffee and smothered in sprinkles, and maybe I just don't like white chocolate. So let's make a chocolate orange biscotti. Same recipe as before, but we're substituting 50 grams of the flour with Dutch processed cocoa powder. Then instead of any stupid nuts or berries, we're going to add more chocolate. 120 grams of your favorite baking chocolate, roughly chopped into chunks. Add that along with the wet stuff, and then to try to keep things a little bit healthy, we'll add some fruit. The zest of one large orange, which of course is not going to make things healthy, but bring a nice subtle orange flavor. Same deal from there, mix everything up, pat it out, bake, slice, bake, and there you have it, double chocolate orange biscotti, which are almost perfect as they are, but we're not done. Another common topping for biscotti is a thin fondant icing, which we're going to make by squeezing the juice of one orange and adding it a little bit at a time to 2 cups of powdered sugar until it has a nice thick but drizzleable consistency. You can even add a drop or 2 of orange food coloring if you really want to hammer home that this is orange. Now your best move is probably to just Jackson Pollock this all over your cookies, but after making so many, I fancied myself a bit of a pastry artist, which turned out not to be true. So while these don't look awesome and it's a little early for Halloween biscotti, they're really delicious. So there you have it, 3 different kinds of very easy to make and very delicious on their own biscotti. I even made a super traditional version so Italians legally cannot get mad at me. And while these are perfectly delicious on their own, they both improve and are improved by coffee, just like any loving relationship. Oh no, Andy, do you have tooth sensitivity? Well then it's a good thing that this episode is sponsored by Sensodyne. If you have sensitive teeth, cold and hot drinks can unexpectedly trigger painful twinges, making it hard to enjoy your favorite cup of coffee. Sensodyne Repair and Protect with Deep Repair is here to help. It's designed to help repair and relieve the sensitive areas of your teeth when used twice a day so you can enjoy biscotti alongside your favorite iced latte or warm cappuccino this National Coffee Day. Life's too short for sensitive teeth. Use Sensodyne and go back to enjoying iced or hot coffee without the pain of sensitivity. Thank you again to Sensodyne for sponsoring today's episode.